What's going on, Vapers? Today I'm going to show you how to do a coil build for the RBA of the new Kanger SUBOX Mini Starter Kit. Okay guys, so what we've got here is the rebuildable atomizer for the Kanger SUBOX Mini Starter Kit. Since I don't have an ohm meter, I'm actually going to use the K-Box Mini as my base for it. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you turn the system off before you build anything. Sometimes it's a good idea you just take the battery out so that you don't even have to worry about accidentally firing it while you're working on a build. So I'm just using it as a base right now, and we'll check the ohms for the build once we get the coil built. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to show you guys the tools that you're going to need to do a build. Household items you're going to use. You're going to want a pair of pliers, your scissors here, and I actually had a little set of jeweler's screwdrivers and stuff. So this is what we're going to use to actually wrap our coil. These here are ceramic tip tweezers. Now, if you haven't ever built a coil, what you want to do is we're going to be doing some squeezing in the coil while it's hot and while we're firing, and you don't want to short out the circuit. So you use these because they're non-conductive. Your wire snips, because you've got to get it flush on this particular deck, and I'll talk a little bit more about that once we make the build. And then our Kanthal wire. This is some 24 gauge that I picked up at just a local vape shop. Again, you can get the stuff on the internet, eBay, wherever you like. And then this is just some organic Japanese cotton, which we're going to cut down for our wick. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to roll off our Kanthal. And I usually use, I don't know, what is that, 8 or 10 inches or so. So what we're going to do to start is we're going to grab our screwdriver, and you just pin down, you're just going to pin down the end here, and we're going to start wrapping. Now, I usually do about 6 to 8 wraps depending on the resistance that I want on the coil. So I know the stock coils that come with it are, I believe, 6 wraps. So we're going to do 6, and then we'll see how this turns out. Okay, well, you can see it's not real nice and pretty, and that's okay because we're going to fix that once we get it put onto the deck and start working on it. So what you can do is to tighten it up a little bit. You just press that into the base of the screwdriver, and you want to make sure you pull any slack out. So that's why we have our pliers. So you just hold that down with your thumb, and then you just give a tug and make sure that it's nice and straight. Now the base, we are going to want the coil to actually be just a little bit above the posts. So we need our wires to both come out from the bottom side to go into the posts here. So we're going to cut off our excess wire, and because all we need is enough to get through the screws. And then you can either loosen the screws enough that you can lay the wire under it, or sometimes you can feed it through. I'm going to see if I've got these loose enough to feed it through. Okay, so, and you do want to keep your screwdriver in the coil just to help hold its shape while you are working with it, because if obviously you get it bent down really bad, then it's pointless. You just wasted your time. So loosen that up. Okay, now I'm not tightening these screws all the way down yet, because all I want to do right now is make sure that the coil is centered over the air hole, obviously. And that one, this looks pretty good. Maybe you could go left a little bit. So if you don't want to loosen up your screws, all right, you can just put your screwdriver in there and, oops, bend it into place. Now I actually want it to be down here a little more. Okay, so now it is centered, and like I said earlier, as far as where you bend the bottom of the wires here, because you do want the coil above the post and not down here where it could touch the base and then it'll short it out. So that's the basic install. I'm going to show you how to tidy this up here and get the coil looking clean and make sure that it is going to fire correctly. Let me throw a battery in here. Okay, so it's at 0.5 ohms. This is about as clear of a shot as I can get for you. So that's pretty good considering we haven't even messed with it at all yet. I'm going to go ahead and tighten these screws down to the posts now since it's in place. And you do want to get them pretty tight. You obviously don't want to strip the screws, but you want to make sure there's a good connection there. Now you can do one of two things. Like I said, I've got the wire cutters here, so I'm going to snip these flush, but because the chimney housing is, because of the wires there, but it's very close to your posts, so you want to make sure you don't have canthal sticking out of there that will touch that, because if it touches that chimney housing, you're going to read a short and you're going to say like, oh, you know, what the hell's wrong with my coil? Nothing's wrong with your coil. So some people will take them and they'll just twist them and that'll break it off flush. I have the wire snips that are small enough that they'll cut it up pretty close. So we're going to go ahead and snip those off. Get that out of here. All right, so okay, now we're reading 0.4 ohms with the coils tightened down. So what you want to do is, I usually just bump the wattage up to about 40 watts, 35 to 40 watts or so, and then we're just going to pulse fire it and see if there's any hot spots. Okay, and you can see it's actually not too bad. Now sometimes hot spots will work themselves out without you even doing anything, just from pulsing it. Now this actually, it's not looking too bad. All right, so when you pulse it, you're gonna pulse it a few times, and we want to get this coil a little tighter. So as we're pulsing it, all right, we're gonna squeeze it. We're gonna tidy it up, because what you want is you want the coil to heat from the center to the outside, and same thing with the cooling. So you can see here it heats from the center and out, and the cooling effect is the same back in. And I like to give it, this is called strumming. I like to give them a little strum. That looks pretty good. So what are we at? 0.5 ohms, which is good. The stock coils that come with it are at about 0.5. So you see, I don't know if you see it's flashing there. It's probably reading about 0.45. If I had an ohm meter, it would give me a better reading. But since the K-Box Mini will fire down to 0.3 ohms, the fact that we're at 0.4 to 0.5, there's no problem with that. So there it is, quick coil build. We'll get this wicked up and then we will take a quick vape. What's up guys, so we're back. Okay, well I'm back. Through the magic of pre-recorded video, you didn't have to go anywhere. So now that we got the build done, we are going to go ahead and wick it up. Okay, so most of your organic Japanese cotton comes in these little square pads like this. Some of it will have, you can see, I don't know if you can see here, it's kind of layered a little bit, right? Some people will take off these two outer layers and just leave the inside shit. Some people will just rip them in half. The pads I have are actually, the outer pieces are just as soft as the rest of them, so I am not going to take any of it off. I am just going to cut a thin little piece here. And that's pretty fat, quite honestly. You know, that might be a little thicker than some people want. So if you think it's going to be too thick to get through your coil without mangling the coil, you just peel a little off, right? That's all you got to do. So that's a little bit thinner. That should feed through nicely. So you can do a couple different things here. You can either cut just an little angle piece off of the end to start your twist, or you just go for it. So what you want to do is you want to do a little pinch and twist move on the end of it, right? That'll get it fed through. Some people they'll actually put it in their mouth and like wet it. All right, don't do that. That's gross. Okay, if you're building something for somebody else, they don't want your spit all over the wick. All right, so once you do that, you feed it in, and I like to actually give a little resistance on the other end sometimes if I've got a little thicker piece of cotton, just so it doesn't bunch up right here. All right, so you want to pull that through, and you're going to make some, you just make some ears to get the chimney down over it. All right, so pop those up, chimney down, and then I got it backwards. Where's my screw? Okay, so you get the screw over here that holds the chimney piece down. We'll go ahead and tighten that up, because before we get the wick wet, we want to check and make sure that we've still got some resistance. And I know, again, you can't see on this. It says 0.4 ohms, so my Kanthal is not touching the edges near either of my posts here. So what I like to do is you only need enough of your wick that it's going to cover these juice channels right here. So I usually just cut it off right about a 1/4 inch above the chimney, both pieces. And then all we're going to do is push it down on the sides, right, so that it covers those juice channels. Now, you do want to do a little bit of, I don't know what the hell it's called, pre-wicking or whatever, but we're going to wet the cotton with some juice, and we're going to put a little juice in here, and we're just going to give it one quick fire, and then we're going to finish it off. So I have been vaping. This is my absolute favorite e-juice. It is Propaganda Illuminati. It's a blood orange, pineapple, strawberry. It is absolutely fantastic. And I recently moved, and no one around here has it. So I'm forced to go to the internet and order mine to come in the mail. So Propaganda, again, it's a great line of juices. I highly recommend you guys check them out. Hopefully they will send me a full juice line so that I can do a review. But anyway, so I usually vape. You see the 3 there. I only vape 3 milligram. I don't like that real heavy throat punch. And oh, look at this. No, you can't see it. I'm almost out of juice. This is a very sad moment. All right, so anyway, back to the build. So you want to get a little bit of juice in here, right? Get your coil wet, get the cotton wet. And then I usually do like 1 to 2 drops out here on each side, just to wet the cotton again. And then drop 1 more in there. So, how are we looking? Huh? Looks pretty profesh, right? You're thinking, holy shit, it didn't look like that when I started. Nope, it sure didn't. So, okay, I'm at 22 watts, 0.4 ohms. Just give it a couple of, yep, okay, good, that's all we need right there. So, another little dab will do ya. All right, a little dab in there. And then top of the chimney goes back on. Now, this is another point I'd like to make. I did say earlier about how you want the coil to be above the top of those posts. If it's too high, you're going to make contact with the inner ring on the top of your chimney here. So sometimes you might see a short after you put the cap on. So that could be one reason why. So there you go. Looks nice. It's right over the juice channel, or right over the air hole. Juice channels are covered by the wicks. So I'm going to put the last little bit of my Illuminati juice in my tank. Oh, this is so disheartening. If anyone wants to send me some, I would be more than happy to take it. And I have nothing to offer you in return except for more videos. All right, well, it looks like it's about all she wrote for that bottle. So, let's pop it back on here. Okay, since it, yeah, plenty of juice in there. Now, since we did the pre-wetting of the wick, you only need to let this sit for 30 seconds, maybe a minute tops. You don't have to let it sit for forever. So let's pull out and, well, not pull out. Let's back out and we'll take it for a vape. Okay, got it all wicked up and ready to go. I am going to vape it at 25 watts. I don't like a real hot vape myself. So let's give it a rip and see how it tastes. Money, man. I love a new coil and a new wick. Nothing better. So hope you guys found the video informative and it gives you the confidence to make your own coils. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you guys want to see some more videos. Thanks a lot.